Yeah, buddy. We are live.
Yes, sir. And before we start, because we have a lot to get to, first things first, we got some things to take care of. I'll do my part and say, everybody out there, please do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel.
100%. And if you give me about 5 seconds, the link for Jody's channel is going to be down there in the description.
Yes.
So please do that as well. And I'm doing those alterations right now as we speak, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Including Billy Berg. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Billy Berg, he better have liked and subscribed.
Right.
So is Billy already in the chat? Yes, he is. There he is.
And that's the good thing because, well, not so good, but I can't see who's on the chat. You can. So I'm just blindly thinking, is Billy on or not? So
yeah, no, he was already in there. He's already making comments.
There you go.
So let's chat a little bit about sponsors.
Yes.
Why are we chatting about sponsors? Well, we got a few of them. And they need to get their due. So if you'll notice, I added one on there because he deserves some recognition. Fraser's Next Level Coaching. He's a guy out in Red Deer that does some coaching for arm wrestling and general fitness, all that kind of stuff. So he's yeah, he needs to be recognized as well.
As he should.
We're good buddies, and he's going to be competing this weekend. So Fraser's got a great business out there. If you're looking for some arm wrestling training, hit him up. Western Survivor Beef Jerky, the best beef jerky on the planet. Uno 5 Fitness, which make the best arm wrestling tables ever used. And Supplement King Portage La Prairie, which we are fueled by. So
yes,
man, they're rolling in already. We got a bunch of people already coming in. I am gonna kill my Facebook off here because it's giving me alerts that are causing me a pretty good amount of disruption.
Oh, and there goes mine.
There you go.
Oh, man. I'm not going to mess with it because I don't want to accidentally deactivate myself from this. So I'm going to just let it roll. Guys and girls, if you're listening out there, ignore the Facebook, noises.
I turned off my notifications. There we go. Man, we got people coming in.
Good.
What are your thoughts about the end of Devin's favorite 30-second strap rule? Haven't seen it.
Oh, he has another situation now? Like, Lord.
Okay, here's what I want to jump in here. Let's start with this, because before we get into the matches, I would have won every single stake that I placed. I went in and I went to the trouble of adding money to my account and added placed stakes on a whole bunch of the matches. And I logged back in, assuming that I would have all this money sitting there. And I didn't have a goddamn thing other than my initial investment. Because unbeknownst to me, when they did the rule change where it wasn't the 30-second strap rule, they refunded everyone's stakes. Oh, God. So I didn't get any, there were no bets placed for me. It was just my initial investment sitting there.
What was the whole purpose of all that then? Like,
because that slight rule change, I guess they thought it was fair to give everyone their money back and let them replace the stake with about, I think it was less than 24 hours notice, because my stakes were placed on Friday.
Right.
And I guess that later that day is when they changed the rules. Devin apparently made a rant video that I never saw. And then we got some other chat here. Jay Clean says Devin and Egan have been going after each other for the last day about the strap. Well, I don't like the 30-second strap rule. Why do you get to screw around for 30 seconds and you get the strap?
It's if we're trying to move forward with the sport, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Travis is in a NAL league, and then it morphed into a wall. His set, like, okay, set grip, let's go. You can't get a grip 30 seconds. We're going to strap no matter what.
How does that make sense?
I think people are overthinking things too much, and it's just you're actually doing more damage than you are good.
Yeah, well, okay. We'll have to check it out later. We got 19 watching.
Yeah.
7 likes. Hit the like button, guys.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Where do you want to begin, Jody? Where do you want to begin?
Let's start with the match I did not see because I had a host of people coming to my practice over the weekend because I was getting King of the Table 3. So I was out running errands, getting food and beverages and stuff, reconfiguring my garage for all these tables to come in. So I didn't even see the Chanshaw Todzilla match, but I heard good things. But I want your perspective on it.
I got to tell you, for a guy that gives Chance a hard time a lot, and I do, admittedly, and I think some of it's deserved. He obviously has been putting in the work because when I saw Todd Hutchings walk on stage, he looked like was pretty close to the best shape we've ever seen him in.
Right.
I mean, massive veins popping out, like he looked thick and strong and everything you would expect an in shape Todzilla to look like. Then Chance shows up and Chance looks big and thick, and he doesn't look like he looks bigger. He looks bigger and stronger, but when they pull, Chance was in every match, and he never did I hate the thing he does sometimes when he has some quit in him. When he starts shaking his head and smiling like, okay, I'm giving up. He fought to the end, and it was closer than I thought it was going to be. Oh, we have a request, my friend.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Do tell.
Somebody wants to jump in here with us.
Nice. Is that our first one?
Yeah, we'll see if it works.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the thing we're talking about. I really like what Chance did there, and I thought he looked amazing. And he's an anomaly. The anomaly is, how does a guy that keeps losing keep rising in the rankings? Because I believe that his performance is probably going to move him up.
I got a question.
Yeah.
As far as rankings go, I'm like number 17, I guess, left-handed North America 242 class. If for some reason in my match with Robbie Topi in June, if he beats me 3-1 and I get that one win, does that qualify for me to go up or no? Even though I lost, is that what we're talking about?
I don't know. I guess so.
I mean, just honest question,
Yeah.
But I think with Chance, not that he never took any other matches seriously, but I will say this. I know he trained his ass off because he didn't train like this when he prepared for John Brzezinski. He didn't train like this when he prepared to go over to Turkey in the East versus West card. He didn't train like he did getting ready for Todzilla. I will say that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting some clarity here in the chat.
Please do. Yeah.
Okay. Tyson says, what makes sense? What makes sense is when you slip, you go to the goddamn strap. That's what it's there for. If guys slip, you get the strap put on. It doesn't make sense to just mess around for 30 seconds and get a strap. That doesn't make sense. It's a consequence of an action. If you let go, you slip out, you go to the strap. That's how it's been done. That's the way it should be. I don't mind the 30-second strap rule because it favors me. I'm saying it doesn't make sense. Says Devin wants a strap rule because it will affect the Levon match / slipping. So he's trying to use legal avenues to enforce his contract to keep the 30-second strap rule. And Jay Clean says, you're not going to be able to see Devin's rant. He privately made the video private soon after posting it. Someone else says it looked bad for him. That's why he deleted it. Okay, interesting.
Why would you delete that?
I don't know. I never saw it, so I can't even comment on it, but I heard it was, a rant.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with a rant if that's how you feel.
But if you deleted it, wouldn't that mean that you probably got a lot of feedback that wasn't positive? And then, okay, let me go ahead and take
Devin's ever cared about that feedback, though.
No, but for him, though, that's weird. Well, exactly. He doesn't care, but yet at the same time, he'd post something and he'd take it down, which doesn't make sense.
No, I've never seen that from him.
What are your thoughts on both guys agreeing to the strap to eliminate the 30 seconds of thumb wrestling around and stuff?
Perfect. If both guys wanted to do it.
Because I mean, what gets me is that, hey, you want to go to strap? The other guy says no, and all of a sudden you grip up, ready to go, and you slip anyway. It's like, okay, that's annoying.
Yeah. I mean, both guys agree to go to the strap. They could both let go anyway, but it saves time, right? So as long as it's within the rule set. I don't like it when a ref says, you're both covering your thumb knuckles. Are you both okay with that? No, that's not okay.
Right.
So let them do the strap if they want to do the strap, but don't let them do anything that is outside of the rule set. You're both starting with your elbow off the pad. Are you both okay with that? No.
Well, Ryan, I think we're at a point now when you get to these matches and they're like real mega matches that some way, somehow, one, if not both, are going to try to get some kind of advantage because there's so much at stake.
Yeah. Anyway, he says somebody said he didn't want to jeopardize his contract. Phil said this. Doesn't want to jeopardize his contract with slander. That must have been one hell of a rant.
Wow.
Okay, well, I wish I'd have seen it.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because maybe that might have jeopardized his future pullings in that. What is that, PAL now?
That's man, I don't know. That was King of the Table.
I didn't know they had contracts.
Well, one match deals, right? So I mean, you show up this day, here's what we pay you, here's the rules kind of deal.
Okay.
So it's a contract for a match. It's more of a match agreement than a contract, but I guess technically it's still a contract for that one match.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, let's not take away from the matches. Let's get I don't know, Jody, you want to keep going down this path, or do we?
I really don't. So it's like,
yeah, we can go down, we can talk the matches, but we do have a Sap the Bee who I believe he is Devin's favorite person in the world, has sent us a $5 super chat. Says that's the crux of Engen versus Devin argument. Engen says it should be based on consent from both athletes. Devin says it's a right regardless of consent. Well, I agree with Engen on this one.
Right. How is it a right for, I don't understand. Like, look, again, my thoughts is that people are overthinking this. You slip, you get into the strap, boom, let's go. None of this, well, let's go ahead and do it this way. I'm like, no. I mean, unless someone feels like they're not, I don't want to say mighty enough, but if they feel like they have a disadvantage because they think in their head that if I do it this way, that might give me an advantage to stay in the match. No, just fucking grip up, see what goes on. You get 6 chances, right? If you can't figure it out in 6 chances, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's an interesting topic, but I mean, we were talking about Chance, and man, I thought they looked amazing. I thought Chance, I think both of them elevated because of this match, and I'm kind of excited to see what Chance does next. Now, before I didn't care, now I'm kind of excited to see it.
Do you know who Tony Thomason is?
Yeah.
Did you see his post?
No, I did not.
He challenged Chanshaw left hand and right hand.
Good match left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure about the right hand.
I was just throw the right. Honestly, it doesn't need to be the right hand, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because, well, I guess they're doing that because, let me retract my statement, because Tony's more of a lefty, I do believe, and Chance is more of a righty, which is why he said, hey, let's do both hands,
Oh, Chance said both hands.
No, I mean, Tony offered,
Tony
hey,
did.
how about left
and
right?
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if Tony's right hand is competitive enough, and I don't think Chance cares enough about the left.
Right.
It's not like it would be a match that I'd say, hey, I need to see this. I would kind of, at this point, as much as I hate to admit it, I kind of want to see what Chance will do against other top tier guys now.
Well, throw a name or two out there and you tell me what you think.
I think would be a fun match to see Chanshaw pull Matt Mask.
Yeah, I like that. I'd say Chanshaw and Marcio Barboza.
That's another great one. That would be competitive because the styles kind of complement each other, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if these guys are not going to meet like, Chance and Corey or Chance and Derek, then why not? Just
100%.
that's just my 2 cents.
And I do feel like Chance needs to get a win. And I think that pulling those two guys that we mentioned, if he has, I think he could win those. I think he could.
We will see. We will see.
His pronation will be tested because Matt has the strongest pronator that I think I've ever felt. Ever. And it's a tough thing to deal with.
And Chance is one of those guys now that he's pretty much rock solid. It's not the chub, it's more rock solid now. He's able to stop that hit, and is he have to deal with that long lever that Matt has? Is that going to be an issue?
And Matt's looking for matches. Like, he's booked so many matches. And they put him as a shutout stake this weekend. Like, they don't think Tim's going to be able to beat him even once.
Wow. There you go. And we can touch base on that too. We'll talk about your match with Michael too. And like I said, we can move, forward with that. But
now let's talk about the upcoming at the end, because we got a big amount of things to talk about here.
Yes, sir. Let's get into it. So
which one you want to start with? Larry and Khaled.
Before we get into that, because what I'm about to say right now bleeds into the first two matches of that card. What are your thoughts on the 6th round? I made a post the other day and I said, hey, aside from Arm Wars, we should just get rid of 6 rounds. Because if guys and girls are pulling 6 rounds, and basically it's a race to 4, let's be real, okay? So once that person secures that 4th win, they technically don't have to pull the rest. They've mathematically won. So either A, you risk injury. So one or two things are going to happen. You risk injury, or B, you just lay down to him anyway, which is a fucking waste. So do we need to wipe away the 6-round format? Unless it's Arm Wars, because Arm Wars is kind of like, hey, man, don't be a dick. Neil invited you to Arm Wars. You fucking pull all 6 rounds.
Yeah.
Don't be like that.
You have interesting points. And I think the thing that makes your point and my point, because I agree, is the fact that Stake Kings, when they do a shutout stake, has made the shutout stake 4 rounds only. So it's like they don't give a shit about the next 2 matches.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you. They have the option to not pull the last 2 matches, but then who cares, because there's no consequence in the next 2 matches.
Right.
I mean, Sarah and Gabby, I am pretty sure that Sarah would have won the last 2 matches of that 6th rounder, but it wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference. The only thing it would have done is maybe we would be talking about a rematch again for those 2 girls.
Well, I mean, look at Gabby, and we'll get to that match in a second. Once she got her 4 wins, I'm done. I don't need to pull no more. I don't want to. There's no need for me to pull. I mean, she was so dominant the first 3 matches, at least, that one match where Sarah caught her, but then she elbow fouled. It's like, oh, okay,
I'm going to get quite into the Dave Chaffee and Alex match, but let's face it, matches 5 and 6 were practice. They were practice pulls.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex even said, I want to try a couple of things. And Dave didn't give him everything he had.
Well, Dave's on a mission.
He won his 4 matches, and that was all he had to do was take that win and move on. So the 6th rounder, I never fully understood it. And one of the things that used to confuse me a little bit about it was the fact that when Igor was doing 6 rounders, there was no silver bullet.
Right.
They could end on a tie.
And then you have all these question marks. At least Neil says, hey, silver bullet, fine, let's do it. Because that's an actual war, 6 matches. And if you're draining each other out, that's an actual war. Hence the phrase Arm Wars. Now with Larry Wheels and Khaled, I mean, I never seen Larry just tap out. Like, just tap out. Like, I don't even want to fight. I'm done. Now I said, and we had Mr. Pradeep on last weekend or last Monday, and I was like saying, here's my thing. Does Larry have the hand strength to turn Khaled into a hook? And I said, I don't think he does. Now the first match, I'm like, wow, that surprised me. Problem is that I think Larry, excuse my language, blew his load on that first one. Speak of the devil. I think he blew his load.
Up here. Look at who it is.
Hey.
Oh, you're muted.
Pradeep, can you hear us?
No
Okay.
audio.
And while he's working on that, everyone, my point being, everyone was kind of getting on Khaled because, hey, he just got done doing the MMA event, and everybody thought he wasn't really focused on this match coming up, whereas Larry was, And I'm like going, okay, never say never.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, the thing that concerns me is Larry has a style that is not efficient at all. He comes in there, and after match number 1, did you catch what he was saying in between rounds?
I did not.
He was talking about managing his pump.
What does that mean?
Well, it was deeply, he was getting such a pump from the first match that he was, he was conscious of this, that he was having trouble managing the blood flow in his arms. And he was getting too pumped to actually move, or to compete. So he was like, when you get so pumped in your forearm, you can't really do anything with it.
Then stop pulling with your bicep.
That's just it. So, I mean, here's the deal, right? I mean, Larry's got all these guys coming over to train with him. How many are truly coaching him in a way that works for him, Because I find that what often some guys do is they'll come over and they'll try to turn you into them, and it's not coaching.
No, it's for them. And my thing is like, I have a teammate that kind of does that too. When we have new people come, pull like me, everyone's different, mechanically different,
Yeah, I can hear Pradeep now, or I did until he's muted. There he is.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
All right. Surprise entrance.
Yeah.
Getting hot up in here. I'm gonna crack my window.
I got really excited about this conversation. First of all, because I always love to listen to you guys. And Ryan, he has always supported me right from the beginning. And Jody loves grip, and I love everyone who loves grip. That is why I wanted to join the conversation.
I'm glad you did.
Well, where were we? I mean, we were in the middle of talking about, we lost Pradeep's, we lost his camera and his audio. There he is. Okay. So we were talking about Larry, like, what else do you want to say about Larry and Khaled? I mean, he needs better. Does he need better coaching, or is he just got to change it up completely in the training? Or is he just one of those guys that's destined to not win matches because his pulling style is just too inefficient and he just gets too pumped?
So that was quite shocking for the viewers to listen to me say that. So about a year ago, I said that maybe Larry is never going to be at that top elite level, because I have seen his progression in last 2.5 years, and it is really slow compared to, like, if anyone else with such elite world record level strength joined in arm wrestling, he would have shown better performance, better growth than Larry. This is what I said about a year ago. And like, everyone was after me after that comment, like, why do you think it is like that? Because we have heard from guys like Todd Hutchings and other guys. They were dominant at the national level within third year of arm wrestling. Can Larry be dominant at national level in super heavyweights even with 6 years of training, 5 years of training?
Well,
I don't know, man.
Like I said before, and I told you guys last week, he needs to focus on tournaments just so he can get the aftermath. He's not ready. He's shown the last 3 matches. He's not ready for that yet. And it makes me wonder what Ryan said earlier, when those guys are going over there, he's getting all these people to come to him to train. Are they actually training him, or are they training Larry how to pull like them? Because let's be honest, Derek Smith's gone over there. Devin's gone over there. Michael Todd's gone over there. Chanshaw's gone over there. Now, I may say something that might get me kicked off this show, or it might send me kicked off this arm wrestling community. But do you think when those guys are going over there to train with Larry, is it for them or is it to help Larry? Because we all know the kind of, subs that Larry brings, but after all those guys over there, you haven't done anything. And here's Khaled, fresh off an MMA match, and comes here and destroys him.
I don't know, man. Like it's an interesting topic to bring up, that the fact that he might not be getting the help he needs, but maybe he's just not got that genetic disposition for the sport. Like, it's to be an elite strength athlete, but he's a guy that's trained for short bursts of power, but not doing it, 6 times over with a minute break in between. Like, I don't know. I think he needs to start bringing guys like Giannis in to train with him, not necessarily, the top super heavyweight elite, but the guys that are used to coaching. Engen would be another good one to bring in for him.
Yeah.
Just to work on him with his style and with his training.
So this is what Neil Pickup was also. I can only see one of you at a time. Is there any way I can see all? I'm using Zoom from my mobile.
Well, you can probably see each of us as we speak, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're okay on our screen.
All right.
Well, with the technique, you can't, when you saw Larry pull, you can't pull in a hook when you're way out here. You're going to drain your bicep. And I think if the hook move is his favorite move, you got to stop pulling with your bicep, because you're going to drain yourself out, especially in a 6-round matchup. If you lock your bicep and then move your body, or your pronation or a supination, you last a lot longer. That's just my history. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. And, I don't want to, I hate to say this about a guy, but I mean, where are you going to find someone that Larry's going to beat that's got a recognizable name? Because Khaled was built by Larry.
Yeah.
If you just picked him off the street and put him in a match, no one would care. But we did care because, he's the guy that was practicing with all these super heavyweight elites, and they were all talking about how strong this guy's hand actually was. Then we bring over guys like Brandon Allen, and, he figured out the formula. Larry's probably going to win the first one, but not any more than that.
Right.
And a guy like Ryan Bowen would figure him out in a heartbeat, because all he's got to do is hang him up in match number 1, and all the rest of the matches are going to be over. So who do you put him against that's credible? You got to go outside of heavyweight.
You don't. He needs to do a tournament.
Well, there you go. But I mean, is Larry going to swallow his pride and take that, because everyone's going to headhunt him in that tournament? But at least he'll have some easier matches, because not everyone's going to be elite.
Right.
Ryan, even at this point, I think that Larry, although he's not all into powerlifting and arm wrestling as he was once, but even at this point, I think he has to leave something, at least something that he's doing that is important for arm wrestling, when he's training for arm wrestling, when he's training to compete. So doing that for a super match at his own event, because it is going to drive the pay-per-view sales up. Doing that for his own event makes sense. But would he leave something important that is financially important and maybe otherwise important for making connections as well? Will he be willing, or should he leave those commitments just to compete in an arm wrestling tournament that probably none of the viewers are going to care about? This is my question.
I mean, how many guys have jumped into a crossover sport without dedicating himself to that completely and been successful. Devin jumped into a boxing match, and let's face it, he got beat up a little bit.
Yep.
You know, he's never going to be a pro boxer at all, but he's never going to be one for sure if he's continuing to keep a foot in both worlds. And somebody once said to me, like when I was doing mixed martial arts, when I was doing strongman, and I was doing arm wrestling, and this is at the point that I already won two world titles. They said, Ryan, do you want to be the best at something, or do you want to be just pretty good in a whole bunch of things? So the point that Pradeep is making is valid. Larry is spread too thin. He's doing too many things. And maybe that's what he needs to do. Get the hell off of trying to deadlift the world and, you know, focus on arm wrestling training a little bit.
And let's be honest, when you do bodybuilding or strongman, those workouts are the total opposite of what we do in our sport. Total opposite. You know, if you're, you know, let's be honest. I mean, powerlifting, for example, you're doing a squat. I don't know how many people are squatting 500 pounds getting ready for an arm wrestling tournament. Okay. When you're bench pressing, you're pushing the weight, you know, which is fine if you do upper body stuff and you're deadlifting. But it's like, again, none of that. If you look all the weight that Larry does, and like I said, I'm not blasting the guy. I'm just telling the facts. When you see Larry Wheels do all that weight, what's he doing? He's wearing wrist wraps and stuff. We, as arm wrestlers, we don't need that stuff because we want our wrists to be very strong. We want our wrists to be strong in this part. You know, when you pronate and when you supinate, that's where we want to be strong at. When you wear those wrist wraps, pulling that heavy weight, that doesn't do anything but secure your wrist like this. Keeps it like this, right? When you deadlift, your wrists are never like that. They're like this. When you bench press, your wrists are like this. They're like that. So when you cross over in different sports and different workouts, it's the total opposite. You know what I mean? Oh, it looked like Ryan froze on us. Oh, hey, Ryan, welcome back.
It's the obligatory connection loss for once per show at least.
Yes. Did you hear what I was saying, though?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree.
Pradeep, before we go to the next match, or actually we can go to the next match. Before we talk about Sarah and Gabby, I brought up to Ryan his thoughts about the 6-round format, and the first two matches on the card didn't go the distance. And I'm not sure if it's, do the actual pullers care about the staking? Because once you secure 4 wins, instead of saying 6 rounds, we should all say it's a race to 4, because once you get that 4th win, it's really irrelevant after that, you know, because either A, someone who has 4 wins are going to have an injury, or they're just going to lay down because I've done my job, right? I think Dave's same thing. I mean, once you get to 4 wins, what's the point of, you know, going 6 rounds? So Pradeep, my question to you is, what are your thoughts on that format, aside from Arm Wars?
Actually, I've already brought that topic up on my channel a couple of times. I'm personally not a fan of 6-round super match, not even a best of 7, as you were just mentioning. Like, my question has always been my doubt as a fan of the sport, or most importantly, as a fan of that particular athlete that I want to win. My question, my doubt has always been, if somebody has beaten you 3 times straight away, let's say the best example would be Mazay Saidu versus Coach Ray, King of the Table 1. He beats him with a top roll or a high hook, whatever you want to call it, round 1. Does the same round 2, like flashes him, nothing. And round 3, it gets into a hook, then he rolls out, then beats him. So every possible way except for a press, he beats him. I'm not so sure what is left to prove after that. Like, is it a marathon, an endurance battle to see even if you kick a guy down 10 times, when you're turning your back on him, he's having a good enough stamina to come back and beat you after that. So I'm not really a big fan of 6-round super match. If you forgot something, if you are not able to hit off the go, your timing wasn't perfect, your style, you should have top rolled, but you went for a hook. Any mistake that could possibly happen in a super match, 3 rounds are good enough, sufficient enough to sort that out, in my opinion. I'm not sure if you have already lost 3 times, why do you need a 4th round to find something new? That other guy has clearly won. So this is my thought about that 6-round super match format.
I don't mind the race to 4. We got 2 super chats we got to get to.
Yes.
Jay Clean, $10 says, I appreciate you fellas. Thank you, buddy. Sap to be in here with $5 again. I think opponent selection is also a problem. Schoolboy, Brandon, Khaled. He says Schoolboy, Obvi, Brandon, King's Mover, Khaled, genetic freak. He needs someone normal like Chandler. So he's using.
Oh, you're talking about Chris Chandler?
Chandler might be a bit much yet.
But see, that's the thing, though, because okay, so I see where you're going, but to you two out there, you're actually picking, people that actually know the sport of arm wrestling. It's like this.
Yeah.
It's like, and I don't want to get to the steroid thing, but when people say, "Hey, baseball and steroids," or arm wrestling steroids, does it make you more powerful? Yes, but you still got to have the hand-eye coordination to hit the ball. You still got to have the knowledge of the sport of arm wrestling to make that happen. So I'm not saying Chandler's on anything. I'm just saying when you get 2 powerhouses, I'm going to lead toward Chandler because Chandler's been doing this sport for so many years, whereas Larry hasn't. So if Larry can't do it versus Khaled, who doesn't have little to no experience, what's he going to do with Chris Chandler? Just curious.
I don't know, man.
Because he has the knowledge, Chris has the knowledge to go inside. Oh, that's not going to work. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to slide my elbow forward. I'm going to post up on him and take him that way. Game over. That's it.
And Larry pulls like a practice puller. If you guys didn't notice that, he pulls like a really good practice puller because that's all that's where his experience is coming from. He didn't do what everyone else has done, which is go to tournaments and, just keep on training, hitting these tournaments, getting beat up on, climbing the ranks. He's trying to start at the top. And relatively speaking, for the rest of the guys he's pulling, but he needs to have an easy one. Put him against someone like Juji or another, someone else that's not really an arm wrestler,
Actually, you know what? Wow. You know what? I like that because number one, we all know both those guys got great followings, right? Perfect. Juju knows little to nothing. We saw Larry knows little to nothing, but they both had rubbed their shoulders against some of arm wrestling's greatest pullers. You put those guys together, then maybe you'll have something. Maybe, Larry can get secure a victory.
Yeah.
Does Juju even want that is the question.
Hard to say.
Does he even care about arm wrestling anymore? Because after that Mike Aiello thing, I was like, this guy, I think I've seen only 2 things that Juju did. He did the bottom 8 that Devin put on a few years back that had Beerman and Bowen and Gabby and all those guys. And then he also did the WAL finale. What was that? 4-0 whatever, 406 whatever. And he pulled Mike Aiello. It's kind of like that was a joke of a match. So that's the only time I've ever seen Juju pull an actual meaningful match.
Yeah, I agree. So are we ready to move on from Larry?
I want to mention one thing about the Larry match, Ryan.
Yep.
I read at least a dozen comments saying that Larry is new in the sport. Larry needs to have some tournament experience, like Jody was also saying. Neil was also saying that Larry is predisposed for explosiveness. He burns out quickly. Maybe the super match format isn't a thing for Larry Wheels. And that kind of touches into the genetics part, but nobody was mentioning the genetics part. Just because Larry looks like a freak and he has world records in strength sports, nobody mentions the genetics parts for arm wrestling. Maybe Larry does not have those genetics because he got defeated by a guy who has 0 super match experience, 0 tournament experience, and has probably had less than 15, 20 table practices. And people were telling that Larry needs to have more experience. He's new. What about Khaled? How did he beat him? He has at least, I would say, 20 times less experience than Larry Wheels. So I think the genetics part also needs to be mentioned, and people are not giving enough credit to Khaled. So before that match, a day before that match, I made a community post on my channel saying that in capital letters that Khaled will beat Larry Wheels tomorrow. And people were saying that, no, you must be kidding. Is this a April Fool joke? I was getting those comments, and I was saying that just wait for 26 more hours. You will see that he's going to beat him, because nobody is giving Khaled enough credit just because he's saying that he's not interested in arm wrestling. He gets a lot of hate because of that. And let's be honest, he's being honest. Like, he shouldn't have said at the press conference that he can do arm wrestling even when he's 50. He needs to focus on MMA right now, which is truth, which is being honest. But man, he should not say that at an arm wrestling press conference. That was like really hurtful for even for me. Like, I'm a fan of Khaled, and that was bad too. That was not easy to listen even for me. I can see why many people are hating Khaled, but they are not giving him enough credit which he deserves.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that he said, I'm not an arm wrestler. It's, what the hell are you doing there on the show? Taking a
And
spot
then he
away
sat
from
there and smacked Larry. So it's kind of like, okay. But I tell you what, for new arm wrestlers, I will take hand and wrist strength over bicep any day.
Yeah. Well, somebody made a comment that I don't read regular chats all the time, or the GOAT reads regular chats and I won't. I will if they're interesting, but there's also a lot of them. So chill out, you. All right, next match. What are we going to talk about now? Gabby, Sarah?
Yeah, we can go in order. Yeah, Gabby, Sarah. So I was looking forward to this match. Really, the buildup was awesome because here you have, it was a bullet match, so to speak, because back in the day, during the original Arm Wars day, Sarah would whack Gabby all over the table. So Sarah was dominant. Then you fast forward to WAL, what was that, 506? And here's Gabby, stronger than ever. She's like a 17,000, WAF world champion. And she was so dominant. And once again, it showed that she was that dominant again. And I'm like going, wow, Sarah, man, fuck, there was like nothing she can do. When Sarah caught Gabby, it was over here, not right here, which tells me the side pressure and explosive is always there and always will be there. Was it match 3 where Sarah did get a bite on her hand and got Gabby in trouble, but she elbow fouled or something like that?
Yeah, and then there was the match where she kind of let go. Pradeep, I'm getting another a request for you to join.
Yeah.
Here. Should I accept
I'm trying to join via VC.
Okay. So it made me a little bit concerned when, Sarah kind of could have held on that one match and didn't.
Right.
But it was making me pretty nervous because Gabby looked like she was exhausted.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we remember when they pulled the last time and it took 3 matches to get 1 win because, Gabby kept elbow fouling stuff. You wear yourself out like that, especially in a 6-round format. You wear yourself out. So next thing you know, when you put all that adrenaline and all that power, if you're not, you can wear yourself out with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. It's, the early rounds, the first 2 matches were pretty one-sided.
I cannot hear you guys yet. You keep talking.
We can
I'll
hear
tell you
you.
when I can hear you.
Yeah. So I don't know, man, that she looked so exhausted at the end there, was sweating like crazy. And I was nervous, man. I thought, if this kept going, and when perfectly illustrating your point about the 6-rounder, when they say, hey, you want to do the next 2? And Gabby's like, no, I'm good.
Right. Did you hear what Sarah said after the first match? Did you catch what she said? When she went back to her corner and she mentioned too fucking strong. Like, I've never heard Sarah say that, like, in the middle of a match. She may say it like after the match is all said and done, but to hear her say that after one match, and she was like stunned. She was just like shell-shocked, like, fuck, it was almost like she wanted to say, here we go again.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting. I'm like, wow. I mean, it's almost like there's Gabby, there's Sarah, and there's everybody else as far as the ladies are going. What do you guys think about that?
Well, that's an interesting point. Sorry about the dog barking in the background. I'm going to have to go and beat the crap out of him in a sec here if he keeps it up. But it's the age-old debate.
My dog is reacting to your dog.
Yeah. It's the debate.
So I have something to say about that match, Ren.
Yeah,
please,
go for it. Yeah, I was going to say it's the debate whether it's who's the better arm wrestler, the one that can win the match, the first match, or the one that can win the whole series of matches. Bob Brown used to bring that up all the time back when Supermatch arm wrestling was starting. But go ahead, Pradeep.
So there is one obvious thing that everyone is pointing out, that Gabby didn't want anything of it after that, after the fourth round ended. Like, it was a big sigh of relief on her face. She wouldn't have arm wrestled for the fifth round if she had an option not to, even if you paid him some extra money to do that. It was quite clear. But I'm not so sure if even Sarah wanted another round. Like, Gabby was like that. Her wrist was like that. She was just leaning backwards, somewhat like Michael Todd was doing against Jerry in their next match. And Sarah couldn't do anything. Sarah was also equally gassed out, in my opinion, and I'm not sure if Sarah wanted anything after that. Like, I think it was the same for both ladies.
Well, what's the point, really?
I was going to say, does it prove anything, though? Once, like I said, and this goes back to the 6th round question I have. Once someone secures the 4 matches, the 4 wins, what is it? I've seen Todzilla. This is like maybe 10 years ago. Him and Brazink went over to Bulgaria, right? And they pulled that 8-man, elimination deal when they had Terrence Opperman was in that one, and so was Trubin when he was like 209. And Todd beat I think it was Terrence Opperman, right? He got the 4 wins, and he kind of just went, okay, I'll just hold on. If I can hold you, fine. If I can't, I'll lay down. You don't need to. You really don't. And, we should probably, like I said, Arm Wars is a different thing. But as far as these 6-rounder, we should just go a race to 4, because that's basically what it is. I mean, to the point where this staking thing has put, control over these matches now. Only because if the Stake King wasn't out there, who knows? They may go all 6 rounds. But because it's out there, no, I'm good. Because now you got people going, well, I don't want to screw nobody out of their money. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, the race to 4 is the way to go, in my opinion.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next one.
Wagner. How?
Underwhelmed, man. Underwhelmed. And that's actually one of the ones I would have won money on, because they had Hermes as a shutout stake. So all Wagner had to do is win one of the first 4 matches, and he did. And then I got ripped off because I had been refunded all my money unbeknownst to me. But, I mean, what do you say? Wagner looked like the oldest 41-year-old I've ever seen, man.
It was kind of sad in a way,
Like, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, he looked big and strong, but he looked big and strong and rigid.
Do you think the game has passed him by?
I don't know, because when Wagner was at the top of his game, he was like a much leaner, kind of almost more wiry version of himself. And now he's got all this muscle mass, and he doesn't seem to be able to move all that effectively.
Now, hold on to that comment. Pradeep, here's a question for you. Remember when Trubin was like light? Remember when he beat John 6-0 that super match? And he was 209. And remember as, he got a little bit more bigger and he beat Michael Todd. Now, he kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And his match, he started losing and losing and losing. So, Pradeep, my question to you is it necessary for all these guys out there to put on that kind of weight? Because even Dave Chaffee looked kind of thin for him. Do you think it's real smart to put all that weight on just to compete at a high level?
Nope, because I think right now the arm wrestling community is getting distracted by the Devon Lett weight gain journey. Like they have everyone. I keep on seeing comments like, well, if John Brezink bulked up to 300 pounds, he would beat everyone. John Brezink can never get to 300 pounds no matter what he does. Like
Right.
it is not the same for everyone. Some guys are naturally thinner and some guys can gain strength with weight. Like I'll give you my example. Right now I'm a fat 87 kg guy at 5 feet 10 height. So when I was around 73, 74 kilos, I could do one arm pull ups with 10 kg weight hanging on my other hand. This is what I could do at 74 kilos. When I'm 84 kilos, even though I have more muscle mass, I cannot do a single one arm pull up. So it is the same 10 kg difference, but I'm actually strong when I'm 74, 75 kg compared to what I am at 85. So it is not the same for everyone. Everyone does not gain strength. Some people actually lose strength even though they might get some muscle mass. Like their efficiency, their overall performance may decrease.
Yeah, because I mean, I saw that. I was like going, Trubin, what are you doing? Then he's getting injured. It's like maybe your body's not meant to carry that weight. You look at Paul Lynn when he pulled John Brezink. Paul Lynn had to bulk up to 230. He said himself, "I was never I don't want to be 230. I hate being 230." It's not for everybody to put on that much weight and then try to stay, competitive or even be better than that. So, looking at, Wagner, it's like going, damn, dude. I mean, yeah, he looks big and everything, but what good is it if you can't, compete at a high level?
And a lot of it has to do with some energy systems too. Like your body just doesn't work
Mhm.
right at some point.
Right.
Yeah, you're right about the Devon thing. People are kind of taking that and running with it. But I mean, for some guys, bigger isn't better. And somebody in the chat, I think it was, there's guys talking about how Dave looked smaller. I thought he looked actually about the same size, but a little puffier. Like he put on put on a little bit of weight that was probably helpful to him. And I actually thought Alex looked smaller than I'd seen him.
It looked
Yes,
like
I thought
maybe
the
because
same.
Dave was wearing all black. There was a pose where he did the double, bicep, and he was wearing all black. I'm like, man, Dave looked kind of thin over there. I'm thinking maybe that was the key, because you don't want to get caught up in the size game, whether you're elite puller, open puller, novice, wherever, you don't want to get caught up in that, because look at Devin, I'm pulling Michael Todd. I gotta do the size game. It just happened to, make it for him. Then Michael's like, he's big. I'm gonna get bigger so I can pull Gennady. Didn't work out. Michael says, you know what? Scrap that. It's not worth trying to stay big. Levon has set the standard to where now it's I gotta be big as possible to compete. That's where we're at right now.
Mhm.
To the point, it's trickled down to the arm wrestling community and everybody out there. Since I can't see the chat, what is everyone in the live chat? What are you guys' thoughts? LeBron has set the standard, and sometimes you can put Devin there too. I got to be big to compete, and it's trickling down. It's trickling down. You know what I mean? What's you guys' thoughts on all that?
Well, I'll read you some of these comments. Dave did look smaller, but every man does against Alex. Dave actually weighed more than he did when he pulled Levon. Dave is usually around 275, and that's his standard weight. His highest ever is 283, so it's not a big differential. Michael Todd says it was worse. Wagner looked like a bodybuilder, more like a bodybuilder than an arm wrestler. The mass wasn't in the right places, as it would be for arm wrestling, very leg dominant. Jay says black is the beer goggles of color. Yeah. Alex said now he thinks he's only a fringe top 10 right now. Interesting. So, it's all interesting stuff, but when we're chatting about, Wagner, maybe Hermes is just that good. He does have a nice, efficient style, and he's very powerful at it. And he looked super comfortable. And the Wagner pin that he got almost looked like Hermes just kind of was, made the mistake of letting him get into that position where he shouldn't have let him get, and he paid for it, and then it never happened again.
Right.
But Wagner, when you see him come out, you see his yell, but he goes raw, and his face turns so red that it looks like he's about to have a stroke. And that was about the height of the intensity. So I mean, and then Wagner, when did he actually arm wrestle anyone in between Hermes and Devin?
I don't think so. If it was, it wasn't broadcast because, and like I said, I don't take a lot away from that Devin match. It's just, there's some matches that Wall had that I really don't take seriously. That was one of them. I just didn't take it seriously. It's just like, okay, I think it was more for show. As far as that match itself, I thought it was more for show. But I don't know, man. I mean, Pradeep, you tell me, man. I think it might be a matchup thing. When you see Hermes get blasted by, Alex, and then all of a sudden he goes there and just annihilates Wagner. It's all matchups and styles. What do you think?
So first of all, you said you don't think you. I think he pulled someone. Thiago is the name. I think he's also a Brazilian, around 100, 105 kilos. We have seen him practice pull against Devin Ladd. So Wagner defeated Thiago very easily, 3-0. And all of them were very fast shoulder roll pins, like maybe 0.2, 0.3 of a second, all three of them. So this is why I said on Ryan Bowen's chat that if there are going to be any flash pins, these are going to come from Wagner, because I have seen his shoulder press. He can be real fast. So this is why the flash pin came from him. And I mentioned before that match that I would be surprised if Wagner is able to beat anyone in a super match whom he is not at least 15% stronger than. Why? Because we have seen the Devin Ladd 2015 match. Wagner was gassed out while the referee was putting on the straps in round 1. He was gassed out when he was arriving at the table. You can see he was sweating. It was heavy for him to breathe. At that time, he was 135 kilos maybe. This time he was 143 kilos. Another reason, you can go to Wagner's Instagram. He's always doing bodybuilding stuff and functional strength stuff. Always. Like if somebody is doing and showing, I'm sure he's not showing everything that he's doing on YouTube or Instagram. So he's always doing bodybuilding stuff. I'm not so sure if he's doing only table time or maybe some arm wrestling specific lifts. I don't think he's doing any arm wrestling specific lifts, and I don't think Wagner's cardio system is going to allow him. This is what I said before the match in my prediction video, that Wagner is going to completely gas out by round 2 or 3. This was my prediction for that match.
Yeah, and that's good points. And somebody said in the chat S-SEN. I'm not sure what that stands for, but says, I mean, you got Ryan here as both tall and big in mass and weight. The difference is I kind of stay the same, so I don't really like do huge variations in weight. I did at one point, but I mean, this is where I feel comfortable for arm wrestling. This is you're not going to see me show up in Vegas and be 425 pounds. You're just not. So
right.
It's going to be, a very similar version.
And Hermes, we were talking about Hermes versus Wagner. Hermes, on the other hand, can be someone who can gain a lot of strength with weight. Like when Alex defeated him, he was around 121 kilos, something like that. Now he has gained almost 22 pounds since then. So can it be a good match right now? Because if you go back, this is what I tell everyone, if you go back to see that match, Hermes versus Wagner, there was one moment, I think in round 1 it was, where both of them wrists were very straight, almost straight, and just with a couple of % difference in his strength, in pronation strength, it could have gone either way. Round 1, I watched that round slowly in 0.25x speed, and it was quite clear that it could have gone anyways in that match. Like the Dave Chaffee versus Alex match, there was a balance in round 1, and Alex's pronation was a little bit stronger. He was able to take, but Dave's side pressure took over from there.
Yep.
So let's move into that match, because we've been on here for a while.
A match Dave needed, I think. But it causes so many question marks now, because Dave is a very proud man. And as Ryan is frozen again, Dave is a very proud man. I know Dave didn't like the bitter taste in his mouth when he lost to Levon 6-0. So Dave's like, okay, I have to get back in this thing, in the saddle, because the one person that's really, really watching this match is Derek Smith. And if for some reason Dave loses to Alex, Derek is just licking his lips and he's going, it is so on. And so I think Dave had to say, okay, I got to remember who I am. I'm Dave freaking Chaffee. I have to remember that I belong with the elite, you know? So he needed this match. I think he does. The problem that causes that, okay, here is Alex. He's going up the ladder, momentum, and then here's Dave Chaffee. Bam. Now what happens to Alex, you know? What are your thoughts, Pradeep?
I think my thoughts after that match, initial thoughts were Derek Smith does not have a chance in that match against Dave Chaffee. These were my thoughts.
Right. Welcome back, Ryan. How you doing?
Thanks, man.
Hey, welcome to the show, Ryan. You got Pradeep's on there. I'm on here. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
We were just did you hear all that?
I didn't hear a thing.
So we were talking about I was explaining to Pradeep and everybody in the live chat that Dave needed that match in the worst way because the loss to Levon probably left a bitter taste in his mouth, and he had to like, okay, I'm Dave Chaffee. Why am I doing this? He needed that match. And I told Pradeep and the rest of the crew that if he were to somehow lost, the one person that was licking his chops was probably Derek Smith. And now that Dave is like, okay, let me take back what's mine, raises too many questions now. Here's Kardeka. Boom. Now where'd I go now? You know, his momentum got stunted. And now, you know, where do we go from here?
Got 1,000 options, you know. Coming over here and pulling some of these North American heavyweights is any one of them is a great option for Alex. You know, I don't want to see him pull a Jerry Carteret because I think Jerry would be a very, very difficult style for him. But anybody else.
Well, and then Pradeep said, Derek, after watching the display that Dave had, that Derek doesn't have a chance.
I don't know about that. I mean, Dave looked like the old Dave again, where we kind of are starting to think about him in the sense that he's, you know, one of the strongest super heavyweights on the planet again. And how can you deny that? I mean, he took a guy that was on a tear and he just roadblocked that momentum.
Yeah.
And Dave is back.
Not to mention, I think what makes sense, and let me get you guys' thoughts as everybody else in the chat too. I thought, because I was pulling for Dave, but at the same time, I thought if he runs into trouble, it's because Alex is one, taller than Dave. I think he has a longer lever than Dave, and he's more explosive than Dave. Something that Derek Smith doesn't have. He has a height, he has a lever, but he does not have the explosive hit. And if Dave can maintain Alex's explosive hit, then what chance does Derek have? Honest question. Like I said, I'm not, you know, taking anything away from that.
Could be a long day. The only X factor here is how strong has Derek gotten? How much power does he now have? I don't think any of those other things are going to come into play. I think, and let's not forget that Dave Chaffee took that match on short notice too with Alex.
Right.
So
1 month notice.
Yeah, I mean, a fully prepared Dave. I'm going to watch it. Of course, I'm going to watch it. But I mean, I think it's going to be a long day for Derek.
Guys, there was one.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there was one weird thing that I noticed in that match. So as I was live commentating on that match, I knew that I need to make a video, the result video after that for King of the Table. So as I was watching, I was taking screenshots. And when I went back to see those screenshots, there was one screenshot where their hands were visible and upper half part of their forearm. And for some time, I cannot tell which arm belonged to Dave and which arm belonged to Alex. Hands, their fingers almost looked identical. And that shows that the size gap, despite the weight gap, about 21 kilos, the size gap in their arms wasn't that much. While the match against Levon, you see them gripping up. It looks like Levon is gripping up against a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know who the one person is probably doing this right now? Vitaly.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. But
because if he was supposed to be in that spot and, you know, through all kind of issues, he couldn't do it. And that's where Dave took it. And now he's probably going, is he going, wow, let's see here. can I get that match down later in the year? Maybe somewhere else, you know?
Yeah. Fox 8 Ball is in the house finally.
Fox, what's going on, buddy?
Well, gents, are we going to quickly touch on next weekend's matches?
Yeah, we could touch on the results. Is that is the April 9th event in Vegas? Is that pay-per-view also?
That is a pay-per-view.
Okay. Matt Mass, Tim Bresnan, Ryan SB, Michael Todd. Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Shout out Steak on all those matches. So Tim has to win one. Michael Todd has to win one. It's I'm feeling pretty good. It's rest week. I know Michael and Rebecca were telling me I should be doing pull-ups every day and getting ready, and a hard arm workout that morning, but of course that's just being silly.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get the pay-per-view. I'll be out of town, but I'm gonna try. See if I can break away for a couple hours and see it. But I don't want my wife kicking me in the shins because we're gonna be out of town visiting friends. So
yeah. I need this win. So I'm gonna go get it.
So Ryan, what is the deal with Armbets TV? Like, how is this on Armbets TV? How did that come about?
It's on arm bets, like the staking or the matches itself?
The matches.
Well, it's a PAL event. So
Okay.
how did it end up happening? Matt was booked for a match with Tim. I thought, hey, that's an interesting, my left arm will be in good shape by then. And I thought, I'll reach out and see what the deal is with the tournament. Originally, I was just going to enter the tournament, and Sean said, you want to pull a Vendetta, which we all know is the 6-rounder. I said, sure. And he goes, well, Monster Michael Todd's interested. And I'm like, well, let's do it. And next thing you know, it got booked. And then it turned into a whole Canada versus USA thing with a whole bunch of different matches.
mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a good time. That's how it all came together. It was kind of just happened by chance, and we all agreed to matches, and we're all flying down there, and it's going to be a pretty good event, I think. Rigid
I
rule.
still have you 3-0 winning comfortably in that match. But there is one weird thing about making predictions. Like, the people in the comments are really, really harsh if you are wrong. I recently noticed that. So on April 2nd, there were 5 matches. I made a video about Alex versus Dave match, and I made a thumbnail like Alex 6, Dave 0.
Yeah,
so I did a similar, I did a similar thing in the Dave versus Levan match, Levan 6, Dave 0. And this time it was completely wrong. And I've got since then at least maybe 50, 60 comments trying to make fun of me. People are saying, man, at least try to make 1 or 2 predictions correct. What are you doing? And I was like, there were 5 matches on that day. I got 4 of the other right to the score, exactly to the score. I even got the score right on 4 other matches. But everyone is talking about that one wrong prediction, that you can never predict matches. People are really harsh. Intentionally, I did not remove those thumbnails or those Facebook posts. I'm kind of enjoying those comments.
It's unfortunate that we live in a society where they want to focus on the negative.
That's how it goes. I mean, that's people love to point out when you're wrong.
Well, I can't wait this weekend. Good luck to you, Ryan. As my co-host, I wish you well. How you feeling, though?
I feel amazing.
Good.
I got the aches and pains that are common for the week before or the rest week. So that's great. I feel good. I feel healthy, and might actually throw my right arm into the tournament. We'll see.
Nice. Oh, Pradeep, I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. It's an arm wrestling league in India.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
All right, gents. Pradeep, thanks for jumping in with us, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I always enjoy the conversation, whether it is communicating with you guys live or just listening to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So next week, Jody, we're going to jump in here and try to do one from Vegas. It'll be a shorter version, but we'll definitely try to get it on there so we can maintain our consistent schedule.
Ooh, on site. I love that. Live.
So, yeah. Maybe I'll hold my laptop right out to the old strip and we'll do it right there.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Get some weirdo in the background. That'd be awesome.
Right on.
Pradeep,
All right,
thanks for
everybody.
joining
Thanks
us,
for
dude.
watching. Hit like if you haven't already, and I appreciate all of you. And Sap the B, another $2. Good luck, Ryan. Rooting for you. Thank you, brother. So
All
long,
right, gentlemen.
everybody.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thanks for joining us. Ryan, I'll see you next week. Good luck this weekend. Everybody in the live chat, talk to you soon.